So we're into the fourth year of the SDGs, and the 2018 Sustainable Development Report shows that there's progress being made in many areas of the Agenda 2030. But the same report shows that there's a lack of progress in many other areas to actually reach many of the targets and the goals. And this is especially true for marginalized and disadvantaged groups, notably women and girls. There's 4.5 billion people that don't have access to safely managed sanitation services. 2.3 billion of those, not even the most basic of services. There is about 1 billion people that don't have access to electricity, and 9 out of 10 people living in cities are breathing polluted air. And while in some areas there is a trend of discrimination declining, gender inequalities continues to hold back women and deprive them of their basic rights and of opportunities. And if we go back to the sanitation, we know that there's roughly about 130 million girls that are not attending school. Many drop out because of sanitation issues. And so this is playing a large role in the inequalities. When we talk about pay gaps, we know that that women that are not educated or that women that are educated, there's much less chance of early marriages, early childbirth, less nutrition for children, less opportunities for work, and therefore less pay increasing the pay gap. So the SDGs, of course, provide a roadmap to tackle these issues, but the SDGs themselves are extremely complex. And countries are still coming to grips with how to relate activities to outputs, outputs to impact, and impact to eventually SDG outcomes. And so we undertook some work with the University of Oxford to relate the SDGs to infrastructure, because infrastructure is one of the opportunities where we can find development gains and help countries to achieve SDG outcomes. We found that roughly 92% of SDG targets can be influenced by infrastructure. And so it underpins or reinforces the importance of infrastructure to sustainable development. And so this growing realization is becoming more and more prominent across development. And so being an operational organization, we've actually taken this important research and put it into an online platform called Sustainable. So it's at unops.sustainable.org, where project developers can actually go in and link their projects to SDG targets to help them better design projects and think through what activities they could do to improve the impact of their projects on the SDGs. We've focused initially on women empowerment being the unfinished business of our time, and understanding that infrastructure is built to last, and therefore if we get it wrong, it can discriminate for decades and therefore perpetuate the inequalities, the primacy of men, and disadvantage women. The latest report from the World Economic Forum is that we're looking at roughly 108 years until we achieve gender equality, which means it's not going to be realized in my children's and your children's lifetime, which is really unfortunate. And what we need to do is make sure that infrastructure enables those years to come down and doesn't increase those years. So it's really critical that we better understand infrastructure and its relationship to sustainable development and how it can better improve achievement of the SDGs.